What is up, guys? Wrestling Premier is here. We gotta start somewhere with AEW. This is the first pay-per-view of all the wrestling that I'm doing. I'm gonna start covering every pay-per-view. We might even do those special episodes, like Beach Break and all those. Like I said, we gotta start somewhere with AEW. I'm gonna cover all their pay-per-views from here on, like I do with WWE, so yeah. This pay-per-view in particular, it was enjoyable. It was well worth the money I spent on it. The ending, though, was something else. Not in a good way, though. They just botched that one big time, and it's going to be remembered for months and years to come, possibly, which is kind of a shame. Yeah, right now, let's get into this video. AEW Revolution 2021. The first match is for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Chris Jericho and MJF challenged Matt and Nick Jackson and the Young Bucks. Yeah, this wasn't bad. It was decent. Were there some botches? Of course there was. I mean, Wardlow made the most notable botch, though. He isn't that experienced, obviously, so yeah. The heels, they were arrogant. They were showboating and wrestling on the same time, just getting on everyone's nerves. Like, the Bucks were trying to find ways to fight back, but either their buddy, the Wardlow, or some dirty tactics got in the way. It took a bit for Matt to tag in Nick, but once that happened, he kicked the hell out of them, flipped them. Cool. They hit the Destroyer, of course. Chris Jericho's involvement, it was mostly limited until a near end. There was this near fall from Matt Jackson that really got me. I thought it was done then and there, but it wasn't. MJF was still douchey and almost lost the damn match. Once again, they got me with a code breaker. Then Jericho brought in a bat, and Matt was on the receiving end of a heat seeker. Again, he kicks out. Both teams were very resilient and just refused to lose. Then Jericho went for the lion saw and took 2 kicks. Then to top it all off, was on the receiving end of the BTE trigger. The Bucks then hit loads of super kicks on both men and hit the Meltzer driver on Jericho to retain. That was a fun match, really. Awesome stuff in my eyes. I enjoyed nearly every second of it. Just a fun top to bottom match. Bucks don't disappoint, and even though Jericho deteriorated a bit in his performances, he wasn't bad here, in my eyes at least. MJF's still a douche though, and I look forward to seeing where the inner circle goes, because they've been teasing some changes for Wednesday, and we'll see. I personally think MJF's going to turn on Jericho. The next match was a Casino Battle Royal, and this one in particular, I like Battle Royals. You guys know how I am. There was some cool wrestling in it, hurricanranas, some cool spots, some drivers, of course. There was this awkward botch with Marco stunts, but other than that, yeah, it was enjoyable. Once Pac and Rey Fenix came out, they were pretty dominant out there. They managed to make it all the way up to the end. They had Jungle Boy at a disadvantage, but the underdogs managed to get rid of Pac. We were down to 2 teams, 1 member each. They ended up having a mini match, and man, was that Rey Fenix hard-headed. He just refused to be denied, and he refused to be eliminated, so the Death Triangle were victorious. Battle Royals are fun regardless of what goes down. Very different from the Battle Royals I'm accustomed to seeing in WWE, Like, I didn't expect Rey Fenix to come in with a suicide dive and do some stuff outside the ring. Like, I honestly didn't expect that. But it was cool to see, so yeah. The next match was for the AEW Women's Championship. Hikaru Shida defends against the winner of the tournament, Ryo Mizunami. Apparently, these two had a storied history. Ryo embarrassed Shida. That's what the commentary team had been talking about sometime around 2010. And initially, it was clear that Ryo had such a lack of respect for Shida. It was like she knew that the champ was beatable, hence the taunting. Shida ended up showing just what she's made of with that damn driver on the ramp. Mizunami was still hard-headed and resilient. There was stiff shots by the looks of it from both women. They took a hell of a lot of knees, strikes, forearms. They weren't really pulling any punches. As a matter of fact, it was like the two took pleasure in hurting each other. There was finishers, near falls. Mizunami at one point looked possessed, taking a damn German right onto the neck and getting up right afterwards. And like Tony Schiavone said, Shida was deceptively strong. And the near falls were deceptive too, honestly. Like, I really thought some of them were it. In the end, it took a knockout shot for Shida. A knee, I should note, for Shida to retain the title. Pretty stiff match by the looks of it. They were rough, tough, and it was good. Then the heels run in afterwards to attack. My Thunder Rosa makes the save. So yeah. Like I said, this match was fun to watch. I mean, they were taking some rough-ass shots by the looks of it. The next match was between the best friends Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy against Miro and Kip Sabian. Before the match even began, Miro launched Taylor into a glass window, busting him open. They brought him into the ring. Taylor refused to back down despite Miro giving him the chance, and so the bell rings. Orange Cassidy was missing, FYI. Taylor got his ass beat for several minutes, but once OC entered the arena, things changed. He knocked down Miro, almost scored the W when his back was hurting. This leads to Sabian taking control for a bit before the blind tag. The momentum shifts to the good guys, leading to Miro going absolutely insane. You'd think somebody told him Rusev Day didn't connect with the fans, because it was something else. He was on a hot streak of sorts. He shoved OC into Penelope Ford, and he single-handedly won the match for his team. And not bad. It was a breather match, honestly. It wasn't bad for the most part. I thought it was cool seeing Miro go crazy. Like, people have been saying, oh, he's gone soft recently. Well, that's a sign he hasn't. I do think he's eventually going to turn on Kip Sabian and go on a hot streak of sorts and eventually challenge for the world title. That's what I think. It's going to happen by the looks of it. It just is. And I can't wait for it. He's going to totally annihilate Kip. And like I said, he's going to challenge for that world title sooner rather than later in my eyes. The next match was the first quarter earnings of 2021. Big money match it is. Matt Hardy goes up against Hangman Adam Page. Winner takes the other guy's first quarter earnings, like I said. Okay, the story of this one is basically Matt trying to scam Adam Page into signing this contract, but he ended up getting bamboozled himself, and so that's how they got to this point. Matt was smart enough to neutralize Page's hand, and it meant the buckshot was going to be harder to execute. This mistake stemmed from Adam Page blasting the steel post, but despite the injury, it still wasn't enough to keep him down. He knew that the hand was hurt and was trying to wrap it up as the commentary team stated, but Matt, though, he was no slouch either. He hit the twist of it on the outside and almost won it like count out. Page was beaten and battered from the neck to his fingers, yet still had fight in him. Page hits the Deadeye, and private parties here. Page got rid of him and went for the buckshot, ran to the side effect and the twist of fate, but it wasn't enough. Dark Order, who had been trying to recruit Adam Page, come out and help him win the match, basically. I liked it way more than I expected, because I know Matt Hardy's been limited recently. He's not as good as he was in the past, so I came into this match with low expectations, but it was good. It was pretty good. I like the story they told with the hand, how Hangman was just beaten and battered yet managed to score the W. Once again, I think he's going to win the title eventually. It's only a matter of time. It's probably going to happen when the crowds come back. That's what I think. The next match is a ladder match for a shot at the TNT Championship. Max Caster, Lance Archer, Scorpio Sky, Penta, Cody, and Ethan Page. Yep, all ego is all elite. So that's the surprise they've been promoting. I've seen rumors, Ethan Page is going to sign. And it happened here. I mean, it was kind of obvious. I don't think anyone thought to themselves, oh, freaking Christian's going to come out during this part of the night. No. Anyways, once Penta hit the first spot, they just kept on coming. Cody took a damn destroyer on a ladder, and because of this, he was sent to the back. The guys showed that they'll do anything for the brass ring. And come to think about it, why the hell do they got a brass ring up there? I've heard some say it was a jab at Vince. I don't know. This guy hit a beautiful frog splash. He ended up being written out after Murder Hawk murdered him through a ladder. Cody then comes back in with a belt, and even though he was on one arm, he was showing guts. He ended up taking a superplex off the ladder and the claim to fame from Max Caster. Lance Archer then had a burst of momentum, and he almost grabs the brass ring, but Page ruins everything. Freaking Jake Roberts runs in there, gets super kicked by Penta. A chair is brought in, and it ends up being Penta's wrongdoing. It was anybody's match. Cody and Sky fight atop the ladder, and Scorpio just shoves them like that to win the title shot. Good match, and it took a while to get going. Once a day was good enough. I honestly expected it to be much better than it was, but hey, it is what it is, right? The MVP of the match for me is definitely Lance Archer. The guy just looked like a monster in there, and he's doing good recently. I hope he eventually wins the title because he definitely deserves it. So now that Sky was victorious, he gets a shot at Darby Allin later this week on Dynamite. The mystery Hall of Famer came out to sign his contract, and it ended up being Christian Cage. Like, the moment they played the countdown, I'm like, why aren't the fans cheering? Because the song is pretty familiar. If you know the song, you know it, right? Then they show the sign, outwork everybody or whatever. And I'm proud of the fact that Christian signed with them. It's weird to me the fact that WWE never renewed his contract. Like, did they think he wasn't medically cleared or something? Like, that's what I believe. But yeah, he's a huge get for AEW. He has valuable knowledge inside and outside the ring, and I hope to see him have a great run and cement his legacy. I mean, he's already a 4-time world champion. Who knows? He might be a 6-time world champion. I highly doubt it, but who knows? A lot of people expected CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. I think people were expecting a little too much, honestly. Then again, Tony Khan, the way he promoted it, it was bound to be a disappointment, but I think it would have been better suited had Christian just randomly came on an episode of Dynamite. Like, that would have been crazy. That would have been even better than what we got, because they promoted it as this very, very huge get. No disrespect to Christian, but when you hear that, you're expecting somebody like CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Christian Cage. Yup, Christian Cage in All Elite Wrestling. The next match was a no DQ tag between Sting and Darby Allin against Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Okay, this was fun from top to bottom. I loved how Brian Cage destroyed all those fake Stings on the outside and just made absolute jokes out of them. But despite all of that, like the fact that they were kicking Sting and Darby Allin's ass at this point, by the sounds of Taz's voice, he was really trying to assure himself everything was good. The match itself really benefited Sting, it hit his weaknesses, and I don't understand why in the hell we didn't get a match between himself and The Undertaker in this type of environment. It was very well done, honestly. Some people didn't like the commentary, but I didn't care. Cage and Starks ended up having backup in Hook and Hobbs. They attacked, but they ended up getting their asses beat also. Darby was launched into a damn glass window. Like, that guy is borderline insane. Sting suddenly became unstoppable. He gets his bat whoops ass. Darby, of course, had to jump off something. Starks and Sting go at it in the ring. Things were looking bleak for the Stinger, but he managed to catch Starks with a Scorpion Death Drop to win it. Yeah, I like this. Definitely my second favorite match of the night. It was cool to see Sting and Darby Allin team up and beat the bad guys. Some thought it wasn't such a good idea to give Sting and Allin the victory, but I just didn't mind it, obviously. I feel like this whole program was just to put over Darby Allin, so there's that. Maybe Allin should have gotten the pin, but it is what it is, whatever. And the main events, Jon Moxley challenges Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship in a barbed wire death match. I mean, I would have been content with a singles match, honestly. Like, I'm not really a huge death match guy or anything, but hey, it was good. Both men were, of course, weary of their surroundings, and once they went to the outside, everything changed. Omega brought in powder, and boom, there's an explosion. Blood was drawn. Poor Moxley just couldn't catch a break, but then he shoved Omega to the ropes twice. It was gruesome and ridiculous. Barbed wire. And to top it all off, Moxley hit the paradigm shift onto the barbed wire. The explosion's going out. And there was this little 10-minute warning because the rules of the match, or if the match reaches 30 minutes, the ring explodes or something like that. The guys are starting to get worried over that. Omega managed to hit the one-winged angel, but Moxley sacrificed himself in order to break the pinfall. Then all of a sudden, the Good Brothers came to their bro's aid. They brought him an explosive bat, which wasn't enough for the victory. So Omega hits the one-winged angel on a chair to retain the title. And man, was that crazy. I don't think we've seen a match like that in North America, to be quite honest. I mean, not only that, but on a major stage like AEW, to have a match like that, it's crazy. After the match, though, Omega and the Good Brothers continued attacking Moxley, leaving him for dead and leaving him stuck in the middle of the ring. Eddie Kingston then comes to the aid of his old friend and basically protects him, and the pyro just goes off, and everybody was laughing at it. It was kind of a botch, honestly. I mean, you could see it with your own eyes. I was expecting more, like when they were promoting the explosion. Oh, it's an explosion. I didn't think it was going to be that kind of explosion. That really shouldn't have been botched, honestly. They should have gone down in a much more grander fashion, and Eddie Kingston's face turn, it's forgotten in midst of this controversy. The match of the night, definitely. But what happened after the match is probably going to live on 5 years from now. Oh, you remember AEW Revolution 2021? Oh yeah, the one with the stupid explosion? They're probably going to think something like that, so it's unfortunate. Overall, AEW Revolution was a fun show to watch. I've just started to dive into AEW recently. I'm looking forward to the future of the company, so there's that. Yeah, my favorite match is the main event. My least favorite was the tag match, Miro. It wasn't even bad. It was just a match to calm things down, so there's that. And plus, we got to see him go super insane, so I liked it. It wasn't that bad, but I really enjoyed seeing Rusev, Miro go crazy. Christian's debut was awesome. I look forward to his run in AEW. And like I said, who knows? He might be a 6-time champion by the end of it. What did you guys think of AEW Revolution? Please comment down below. That's it for this video. Make sure you hit a paradigm shift on the like button and perhaps the one-winged angel on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.